Coach Teresa Ford here, and this is the Guiding You Home podcast. This is a thought-provoking and often humorous approach to moving you closer to the only one who can genuinely help you live a life of abundance and prosperity. Sound good? Yeah, it's you that needs to go within so you can sit in the driver's seat of your life, co-creating with God. So make room for more light and knowledge. As you continue to listen, you will discover elements of how to lead with your inner light, how to act on your specific promptings, and how to follow your spiritual intuition so you can fulfill the measure of your creation. Thanks for being here, and let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Guiding You Home, Building the Confidence to Go Within. And I am sitting with one of my favorite bright lights. Shyane Montgomery. She and I met, how long has it been? Like 3 months? Sorry. No, longer than 3 months. Has it been a year?
It's been a year, Teresa.
I'm sorry. Me and time, we're not friends. but
We're either collapsing it or expanding it. Either way.
Right. Okay. So here's the thing that I want you to introduce yourself, but I just want to share this right up front. I have watched your journey from breaking off from a place that was a foundational space for you, and you are not even the same person anymore. Like, you are bright and you're solid and you just landed. So I'm prefacing our conversation with that little piece of information, but I want you to introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and why you're here.
Wow. Okay. Well, who I am is a multi-dimensional woman that has tried to fit in a box her whole life. And by doing so, I was sick, I was unaligned, and I had no desire to live. I just felt so out of place. And what I do is I help support women that are in that same place, that they're just wondering, is this all there is to life? But there's something within them that knows there's more. That's what I do.
Yes, I love that. And so give us a little background on your journey. Like, where did you come from and how did you get here?
Okay. Well, I actually have a 18 years experience in the beauty industry. And so a lot of my identity was tied up in physical appearances. But when clients would come in and they would sit in my chair or they would come in for a service, I knew that the service that I was giving them was making them look better, but they weren't actually feeling better. And I recognized that in them because I also recognized it in myself. I looked what society would tell us was great, but I was dying inside. Life didn't feel good. And so I always wanted to be a counselor. This is what's so interesting of how life is always rigged in our favor, is that I always wanted to be a counselor, but I didn't think I was smart enough. So I went into the beauty industry. And that path led me to seeing the pain and witnessing it firsthand in the women that I got to work with. And so there came a point in time that I decided to go. I was in a spiritual smackdown is what I call it. And I got to go deeper with myself. And because of that, I have now learned how to go deeper and serve women in a deeper way and help them actually feel good, not just look good. So.
So I think you have framed this so beautifully because, man, we walk around in the world going, did I get this right? Right? You know, it's like it's acceptable. Somebody will like me. I'll be friends. I'll belong. But we don't belong here. And that's what you're saying. You were misaligned. And the person that was in here just dying to get out, something up here was saying, no, just stay there. Just stay there for now.
Yep.
Tell me more about maybe what your journey's been like there.
Where did it start? I think where it really started was in my marriage. I was married to, I followed all the rules as a good Mormon girl. And I checked all of the boxes, and I was still like, I have done everything in life that I set out to do. I have followed the logical linear plan to a T. Why do I still feel this way? And I was disconnected from myself, but where the real rupture happened was what was really bothering me was the disconnection in my marriage. And looking back at that now, I recognize that I was so disconnected from myself, I could never even be connected to someone else because I was so disconnected from my body. I was just a heady mess trying to prevent the judgment of other people and control situations and feel safe, that I could never land in my body. And so when my relationship was in trouble, I really started to get curious with what else there was, which was really interesting for me because I always believed that if I followed the rules of the Mormon religion, that was all that I needed. But what I've come to find is that my mind was blocking me from true connection to God. And so I could never find that peace that I was looking for. And it's just, that's what started the journey. Is just the disconnection in my marriage, the disconnection in myself. And then there was a huge rupture even in my connection to God, the way that I thought I found God through the Mormon religion. And that ended up being not the pathway to God for me. So when it all fell apart, when it all came crumbling down, it was actually completely rigged in my favor because I actually, for the first time, got to find out who I was, not who I had been taught to be.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Shyanne, tell us a little more about the good girl box. So many women get stuck in this box of trying to be the good girl. What is it that we think that means, and how does it make us stuck?
Oh my gosh, how deep are we going to go today? Wow.
Oh, let's go all the way. I don't do anything on the surface.
Are we ready to go all the way? To be honest, I was so disconnected from my body and I was so living in the good girl. I couldn't put sexuality and being a good girl together. I don't know why. That just never linked together. And so I was so disconnected from my body and my sexuality. And I knew that I was missing something. I knew that there was a missing piece. But I compartmentalized and everything, the way that I saw the world was good, bad, right, wrong. And so those two things just did not fit together. And I don't know why. I honestly don't know why I picked that up, that sexuality was bad. Maybe it was from my childhood. Maybe there was just this seed planted at some point in time. And that was the one I decided to nourish, that sexuality was bad. But I picked that up and I made sexuality bad. And so I went through infertility, which looking back now, it's like, of course you did. You know?
There's an answer for that.
Exactly. And then I was not connecting with my spouse in a physical way. And that was just the pattern that we had set, sadly enough.
Yeah. And here's the thing, is I think that there is a stigma around beautiful women, such as yourself, that it would just be automatic to express yourself through your body. But if we have received messaging
that this needs to be shut down and that you shouldn't be too flirtatious or it will be your fault if you attract somebody at the wrong time in the wrong place or whatever. And we're not actually using the magnetism in which we were given, which is the knowingness of our divine worth. Like there's a whole component there that actually activates our female sensuality. And so when we think or when we say something like that, minds automatically go to streetwalker, you know, red light district, something that's, unclean, if you will, something that self-abandons is another way to say that. And actually self-ownership is owning the way you draw people in, right? And that is what I have seen in you. I was like, put my finger on it. I was like, what is it that Shyanee is like? You're so grounded right now. I've just seen this grounding. Like you went and wrote a book. You're still writing it. Like I think you're in the final stages, right?
Yeah.
And I just see this centeredness in you because, like you said before, you're a little bit scattered and you're very heady. But now you're just right here, grounded, and that is magnetic. That is you coming home to yourself. Go ahead.
Well, and I think that is the invitation for us as women, is to not hate these bodies that we've been given, to learn how to love them and care for them and nourish them and use them and not cut ourselves off. Because I do believe that so many women struggle with that. Like I could not receive pleasure because I was so disconnected from all of that. And the way we do something, Teresa, is the way we do everything. So if I'm not willing to receive, I'm not willing to receive. Like my bank account, feeling loved, feeling appreciated, everything was cut off. And that's why I had felt so empty, because I was literally cut off from everything. My receivership channel as a woman was closed.
Wow. Okay. Receivership channel as a woman. And that is what we're here to do. We're here to receive. And the number one need of a female is connection. And if we're all up in our head saying, this is right, this is wrong, I can't, and that's all to be pleasing to the outside world, then we're not connected at all. Right? And then we just walk around disconnected from ourselves. Go ahead.
There's a really interesting part to this that is anatomically, women are meant to receive first. And the reason that I stepped into my marriage, the reason I stepped into organized religion was because I was missing that. And I thought it was going to give me the love. I thought it was going to make me whole. And the most important piece is that we give to ourselves first so that we are filled, and then we have something to give. Then we have something to multiply. Otherwise, it's dirty energy. It's we're giving to receive.
Okay, I call that emotional shoplifting. Your only motivation is I want something and I'm not getting it. It's not being offered. So I'm going to give and serve and do and help until that person freely offers the thing that I want. But they're not offering it freely, or you would have had it without all the giving, doing, serving stuff. Right? And that's emotional shoplifting, but that is how we enter relationships. I will be anything you need me to be. I will show up every time, even if you don't. I'll serve, I'll give, I'll do. And then we lose ourselves because pretty soon we're in a relationship that we mastermind. We did everything we could for them to say yes to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Instead of just being the receiver of the love that they are freely offering. That is so different. And so even in the male female energies, men are externally driven. Look at their anatomy. Women are internally motivated, and look at their anatomy. And so you can see who the giver and who the receiver is in the
100%.
relationship,
Yeah.
right? So if we are only meant to receive, but we're so busy doing everything because we think the doingness is the right way to do it, that we are supposed to serve and, do all the things instead of just being present. Okay, I got to tell you a funny story.
Okay.
This is my ADHD brain going, woo!
I love it. Give it to me.
At my oldest daughter's house, and she teaches this polarity between feminine and masculine energy. And I was there just kind of a fly on the wall, and her son's like, Mom, I need a drink of water. And so she sounded that back. She's like, okay, you need a drink of water. And it is not in her nature to be the goer, doer, beer, or goer, doer, server. And so she's just right there in her zone. And I was already up. So I was like, I'll get it for you. And I went in, got a glass of water, came back around, and he looked at his mom and says, Mom, I had no idea Grammy would serve me more than you. So honest, so honest. And my oldest daughter, she just sat there and smiled. She's like, I am here to bestow my energy and love upon my family. I am not here to go and do. And I thought that was so funny, the difference between an Enneagram 2, me, the helper, and an Enneagram 9, the peacekeeper, her. But how funny and honest he was being. And I was thinking to myself, do I even know how just to sit still and receive? I mean, that's hard because then, like, if you tell a woman that just your job is to be still and receive, they're probably like, and so who's going to do the dishes again? How's the laundry going to get washed? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
And those things do get done, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I think because women are so capable, a lot of times we just do it and we don't hold the space for the masculine to step in.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. And I feel like I have taken a personal journey down this road because when I married the first time, codependent relationship, and when I married the second time, I thought I had healed from that, and I found myself in another codependent relationship. And then I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Just husband hop until I am no longer codependent? If I'm waiting for somebody else to change so I can feel better, I missed it completely because the only reason I was in this second relationship where I was actually very deeply in love with my husband was to center myself. And when we lose our center, we're doing all the things to try and earn love. And when I stopped trying to earn his love and I just centered myself, all of a sudden, there he was. I'm like, well, hey, what are you doing here? This is great. He was like finding me. I wasn't like going to him. It was like, you want to do something with me? You want to hang out? You want to? He was like, what do you want to do? Yes.
That's the magnetism. And that's what's so beautiful is that we do become magnetic when we give to ourselves first, when we look to God to give us our worth and our value and our love, and we stay in that alignment rather than looking horizontally for it everywhere.
Yes, and that alignment, I think, yeah, I want to hear what your alignment practices are because that one is hard for women because we're scattered. We're like running after children, or we're creating a career for ourselves, or we're going bigger, harder, doing all the more things, right? Because we're built for more. So of course we go after more, but we lose our center. And then we're trying to juggle life from an uncentered. Like if you throw some clay on a wheel and you center it, you could throw a pot. But if it's like all over the place on the wheel, you're not going to throw anything that has a shape to it, right? So how do you stay centered so you're not like all over the wheel?
Well, I think it's really interesting that you see me as being very grounded because that has been the struggle. That has been such a struggle for me, is to get in my body and reclaim it. And it's a devotion. It is a devotion every day to be in this body, to make it a home. So it's looking at the stories that I'm telling myself, all of the limiting beliefs. It's processing the emotions. It's moving my body and making that a priority before anything else. And then I have a ritual that I do. We've learned a ritual in Mosaic, but I have a grounding and alignment ritual that I do that makes a huge difference. And I just think women need these tools. They need to know that we get to command our energy. We get to command it. So it's a ritual that I do every day, sometimes multiple times a day.
Do you want to share it, or is that personal?
Do you want me to like lead you through it?
Just tell us about it. Tell us what you would do on a, let's say, just any given morning when you're prepping yourself to receive inspiration.
Okay. So I hold my hands at heart center and I close my eyes and I connect with my breath. So when you connect with your breath, it helps you give something to focus on, and it brings your energy from out here inward. So I connect with my breath, and then I visualize myself creating a connection up into the divine, into light and love, and creating that connection down through my crown. And then, so I see that connection, and then I focus on my third eye, and I just am asking to be still. And then I place my hand on my chakras as I go down my central channel. And I just ask that I can speak with clarity. Oh, third eye. So I go third eye, that I can see through the eyes of God and through the eyes of love, that I may speak only those things that I need to speak, that I may move with love, that my heart may be opened, that I take the actions from a loving place, that I may be able to create. And I place my hand on my womb. And then when I get to the root, I see myself like growing roots out the bottoms of my feet and anchoring into my divine birthright, my mission, plan, and purpose that's held in the core of Mother Earth. And so I literally visualize that and breathe it in. And it brings everything from out here, right here.
I just love that. I absolutely love it. I do something very similar to that as well. I breathe in the light. I turn on all of my chakras, and I picture, when I get to the root chakra, I picture all of my energy shooting down through my feet into the core of the earth where the hot red magma is, and then it comes back up that nourishes my roots, and my roots go back down into the ground. There's something about the visualization of how we've been created, right? That we are frequencies first, and we have these cellular structure made up of light and love. It is an energy of who we are and what we're here to do. And when we forget that, because we're like, ooh, alarm went off, gotta go, gotta make, miss breakfast, throw on some clothes, a little bit wrinkled, but oh well. And then we're out the door. We completely left ourselves in the dust.
Yeah. And I think when I'm talking about like it's receiving first as the feminine, that is the receiving. It is receiving that nurturing, loving energy. It's receiving that love and that like inspiration, that warm golden yumminess from above. Like that is the receiving first.
Yes, I love that. And you've also mentioned just being able to see yourself through God's eyes, understanding who you are to God. That was also my journey when everything, like the playing field was just leveled. I had no health, I had no family, I had no faith, I had no business. I was just like ground level, starting all over again. And that was my one request, just show me who I am in your eyes. Because that's really, when we get back to our feminine selves, that's the only thing that matters, how God sees us.
Yeah. And that was a huge shift for me, Teresa, because I always had viewed God as a God of approval or disapproval. And so when I really started to see God as like the way I see my children, like, I love you no matter what. I love you no matter what. That was a huge shift for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Inherently, they say life has no meaning. It's only the meaning we assign to it. So when we see our God, our Heavenly Father, with shining loving eyes on us, it's just like, oh, you're just the cutest thing I ever did create, right? And then, and as you're going along in life, making mistakes, falling down, getting back up, doing all the things, he's like, don't worry, I gave you everything you need to work this through, right? And he's just like, I pictured him as our biggest advocate, right? He's just like, I gave you all the opportunities, and what you do with them is you, but I believe in you, and I know you can.
Well, and isn't that like all of it? Isn't that everything?
Yeah.
Is that people don't need to be saved? Like, if God doesn't think he needs to save us and we view it that way, like, how does that allow us to show up for people in our life? Well, I don't need to save my husband. I don't need to save my kids. I create a space and I speak truth and hope and faith and encouragement into them. And I just hold the space for them.
Yeah.
And they step into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when you express the best in someone, they will rise to that expectation, or not expectation, an assumption that the best is already in them. And, Heavenly Father gives us this safe container of agency.
Mm.
He's like, I gave it to you. It is yours to do with what you will. Right. And so some of what we choose to do makes us happy. Some of what we choose to do makes us unhappy. And some of what we do is indifference. It's neither here nor there. Right. It's just experience, really.
Yeah. I as the good girl that never made a mistake and never even treaded on the line of inappropriate, or I mean, it wouldn't even be inappropriate, but just like anything off the beaten path. Life was so boring. Like, our mistake actually
I'll just keep eating vanilla ice cream for the rest of my life. Thank you.
Exactly. But like, I don't even want to call it a mistake, because it's not a mistake. When we do those things that are like, oh yeah, maybe I won't try that again. It's like, that's what gives us empathy for other people. And that's what truly allows us to connect to people and see them with different eyes that are not eyes of judgment, but eyes of like, I see you. I see you.
Mm-hmm.
That is what gives life meaning to me. And that's what the Savior was all about. That's why the Savior could do what he did, is because he knew how, and he had that empathy because he had experienced it. If we never experience anything and we just like, so interesting. So interesting.
I love that. I love that because, the scripture that says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. The truth means nothing missing. With the Savior, there's nothing missing. So when you said that you feed your children truth, it's the absence of judgment, right? And that's what you're feeding into them, which gives them this space to make mistakes, because your love is not hinged on their learning curve, right? That's what mistakes are. I mean, I always say we're either learning or we're winning, because there really are no mistakes. We're just like, do this, not that, Yeah. And I love that that's the space that you created to raise your children in, is, opening up the opportunity for them to experience life safely, within safe parameters. Everybody needs guardrails, but it's safe for them because you're providing unconditional love. And a lot of us who had the good girl syndrome didn't feel safe to have experiences outside of what we were told was right and wrong.
Right. And a huge shift for me that has been so expansive has been, I believed that I was innately bad, to I believe that we're innately good. I believe that we are innately good.
That's going to make you feel a whole lot better than to walk around thinking you're innately bad. Like there's no such thing, you know. We're making better choices or not so good choices, but it doesn't make us good or bad. It doesn't change who we inherently are.
But I can see now, as I look back, no wonder I was in such a hustle. No wonder I was so obsessed with my exterior, because I needed to be perfect. I needed the approval, and I needed to pull myself out of the not good. So I was in this constant hustle of trying to be worthy.
Do you know anything about the Enneagram, just out of curiosity?
No,
Okay.
I'm more
Just
into
the way you
human
talk.
design.
Okay. Just the way you talk, you're an Enneagram 1. If you ever want to go look it up, they are absolutely the one that's going to carry the banner of truth to the top of the hill. They struggle with perfectionism because they are really aiming for the right way to do things. Okay, so if you're an Enneagram 1, then you will struggle with perfectionism. For me, I'm an Enneagram 2. I will struggle with shame, which is interesting because perfection and shame kind of go hand in hand, in that if you can't obtain this expectation that is impossible, because we are here to learn and grow and expand, not to be perfect, right? The ultimate is that we'll be perfect with Christ as our advocate, right? He makes up the difference, but we'll never be perfect because we don't live in a perfect world. It's just impossible to do everything exactly right because we're just humans sifting and sorting, right? So if I didn't get it right in my parents' eyes, who were emotionally immature, then they would shame me. And that was just a common occurrence. There was no building up, no congratulations, you did a good job, no encouragement to be better. It was just, well, that was stupid. That was embarrassing. And so I was in that space of, I don't know how to get to where they need me to be so they can be happy with me, right? Which is the same. It sounds a lot like perfectionism. I don't know how to get to the point where I can finally say, you can be proud of me now because I'm perfect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? And we've always wanted to please our parents. Our parents smiled at us. We smiled at them. We're little infants, right? This was a fun little game that we had going on. It's like, I smile, you smile. I make a noise, you make a noise. This is kind of fun. And then we do something that is not fun for mom to have to go clean up, like tipping over the potted plant, right? Dirt goes everywhere. And we're like, wow, did you see that? It was awesome. And mom's like, no, 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 bad, bad, bad. And all of a sudden we're like, wait, what? Hold on. How do I get back to having fun with my mom again? And then that turns into pleasing her because she removed her love when we did something out of curiosity, right? And then all of a sudden we're like, oh, I have to change me so you can be happy. And I think that's where the exterior is, like, I at least look the part, even if I can't feel the part of my goodness.
Yeah, and that's where you end up cutting parts of yourself off to fit.
Yeah. And what if we already fit? What if we fit because we're humans sifting and sorting? What if we don't have to look any certain way? You can see I haven't tried too hard. So I just chop, oh my girl. Like,
I love it.
I don't fit the mold.
I love it.
But I think, though, that is why women feel exhausted after a certain amount of trying, like years and years, decades go by, and we're just like, I think I'm just too tired to care anymore. And then we give up on the opportunity to expand, which is, we're here for the expansion. We're not here for anything else. We think we're here to achieve a goal. We're here to, we're just here to live in our divine worth, which is the process of expansion, right?
Well,
And so, yeah.
I think that's my biggest thing that I want people to know and understand is, like, life doesn't have to be miserable. Life doesn't have to be full of suffering. And if that's where you're at, like, just get curious. Get curious with maybe where life is inviting you into more alignment, instead of looking at it like, why is this happening to me? It's like, when you can enter it with curiosity, man, it can be your biggest expander.
I love that. I think that that is really good advice for us to conclude this episode with, is just get curious. There's more for you to figure out that is within than there is outside of you.
Oh,
And that's
yes.
amazing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I just think like we innately know. We innately know. And when we come back inward as a, a certified breathwork facilitator, like when we bring all of our energy and all of our awareness back inward and we quiet down our mind, we know. We know what is causing our health problems. We know what our children need. We know where we're living out of alignment. We know. The question is, can you take the steps to pull it back into alignment? And that's often the scariest thing, because you're going to be met with other people's opinions. It's not going to feel safe. But it's
Yeah, and that part's not going to stop, but you can't control what other people think of you.
Yeah.
And so if you can just make that none of your business and just come back here, it's just that's where the growth is.
And that's where you build that self-love. That's where you receive from your own well, is by honoring that inner knowing.
Yes, for sure. That's good stuff. Thank you so much, Shyane. Do you want to tease your book for us? Do you have a title for it? When's it coming out?
I'm not actually sure. We have 3 months of editing, and then I'm not sure how long until it's published after that. But the title is Your Wild is Calling.
Ooh. That's going to be good. That's going to be juicy. I can't wait till that comes out.
Yeah.
Is there a subtopic? Like, are you, like, how did this title come to you?
You know, it was from the good girl. Like, my wild is not so wild. Like, it's not what you think wild is, but it's just in claiming all of yourself. It's not the boring, logical, linear, step by step. It's like the wild, the mysterious. That is where God works, is when we create space for God to come in. That is where we really see the miracles that we want to see in our life. And so it's like the wild is the unscripted. It's the unplanned out. That's the wild.
That's so awesome. I can't wait. That's going to be so good. So that'll be out in about 3 months. How else can people find you, Shyane?
On social media, Align with Shyane is my handle. And that's typically where I'm at, is Instagram.
Okay, I love that. Do you have an email people can get hold of you at?
Yes, it's Shyane at alignedalive.com. And that's
very good.
And then aligned and alive is my new website. Everything's just getting revamped. So I'm like, okay, what's my website again? But it's alignedandalive.com.
Okay, alignedandalive.com. We'll put that in the show notes so people can look you up and just watch your journey unfold and work with you if they feel so inclined. So thank you so much for being here on Guiding You Home. You are just a light. You are clearly light and love.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you. It's so fun to catch up with you.
You too.
Thanks for listening. I invite you to leave your feedback and share your aha moments as you listen to this podcast. Also, you can access more information or any of the programs, courses, or worksheets that I've mentioned on these episodes on my website at teresaford.life. Or what I would really love is for you to connect with me on Instagram at teresaford.coaching and on Facebook at Coaching with Teresa Ford, so I can give you more interesting insights and further coaching to help you fulfill the measure of your creation.